I don't know how many people are actually going to watch it, because I didn't, like, you know, obviously, like, it's failed so many times that I haven't actually attempted to promote the fact that I'm going to be streaming live on Facebook. But thank you guys for joining me, and thanks for your patience. My name is Jackie M, and I am a Malaysian street food specialist, former restaurateur based in Sydney, Australia, and I live stream food 3 times a week. I live stream 4 times a week, but I cook 3 times a week, right? And if you're watching this anywhere apart from Twitch, my Twitch channel is twitch.tv/JackieMFood. I know there's a lot of confusion with people who aren't familiar with the Twitch ecosystem, but follow me on Twitch in order to be in the running for all the giveaways that I constantly dole out. And to follow, you don't have to pay anything, all right? You don't have to hit the subscribe. Just if you're watching this on a mobile, just hit the heart, okay? And that will let you follow me and be in the running for whatever it is I happen to be giving away at the time. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to give anything out tonight, so I'll think about it. Depends on depends on how we go. But anyway, yeah, so tonight I'm going to, now I had a little bit of a, not disaster, it's kind of like my own like mess up really. But what happened is that with my old Twitch live streams, right, what I was doing was the old videos, I was embedding them in my recipe blogs, because for whatever reason I misunderstood that I misunderstood the concept of archiving my videos on Twitch. I assumed that once I was partnered, which I was a couple months ago, once I was partnered, that everything would get archived indefinitely. Apparently that was not the case, so I have actually had to go back, because basically they got deleted after 2 months, you know. So I had to go back to my website, and all the recipe blog posts that had videos from Twitch, embedded from Twitch, had to be deleted. Okay, so you just have the recipes, no videos, which basically more reason why you should actually try and catch me live, right? It's not streaming well, it hangs. How interesting. Huh, okay. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not sure if it's a Facebook thing or whatever. Yeah, would you mind keeping an eye on it, Cyan? I'm not going to try and remove it now on Facebook. Yeah, if it messes up, it messes up. If if you can delete it after, like, you know, in the next 15 or 20 minutes, if it's still not, if it's still messing up or whatever. But okay, so today, partly because of that, and partly because I've got a ton of food to get through, I am going to, you know, because one of the videos that I haven't, because what happens is, what I've done now proactively is actually export my Twitch videos onto YouTube, because on YouTube they stay there forever. But one of the videos I couldn't export was one related to recipes made from this kind of noodles. So it's a fairly recent broadcast, but like I said, there was a problem with the Twitch broadcast. It ended up being split in two, and I don't want to have to upload 2 separate. I don't want to have to mess around with video editing and joining the 2 videos and then uploading onto YouTube and whatever, right? It just gets too messy. So I figured I must just do another broadcast using these noodles. But I'm sure there's something you can learn from, like, each of my live streams, because you know, there might be stuff I left out in the past, but these are basically what are often called wonton noodles at your grocery store, all right? Because I run a Malaysian food business, I ran a food business for years, right? I order my food in bulk from my local, from my designated Asian grocery supplier. And when I order these noodles, I ask for wonton noodles, okay? And they know exactly what I mean. Sometimes they might ask, do you want the thin wonton noodles, which is what these are? Or do you want the thick ones, which are the wider cut ones? They're probably about 2/3 of a centimeter wide, right? But there are a couple of different ways you can prepare these noodles, which is what I want to cover today. Asian Kitchen Hut, your cats and dogs. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's so original. I've never heard that before. Okay, so these noodles, right? yeah, like I said, I'm cheating a little bit because I'm cooking stuff that I want to eat, which I know you guys have seen me do multiple times. So that's an excuse for me to use these noodles. So one of the dishes I'm going to be making is basically wonton noodles with wontons. So I've got the wontons, like I said, you've seen me make them a number of times. Wontons call for chicken mince and prawns. So I've got the prawns over here. And the noodles will basically be blanched and then tossed through with a sauce that's kind of like oyster sauce base and abalone sauce base, right? And the other dish I'm going to make with it is basically fried crispy noodles, okay? And that's the video that's messed up that I'm hoping to replace with today's, okay? The original audio situation notwithstanding. For the crispy noodles, I'm going to basically cook up the crispy noodles and produce a sauce that I'm going to pour over the noodles. And in the sauce, I'm going to have fish cake slices, right? As well as prawns, right? And to make the fish cake slices, again, like I said, I'm being a little bit cheeky here. But again, you've seen me do this a number of times, but usually to make stuffed vegetables, but I'm going to be making fish paste again, right? To this time make fish cake slices with, use some of it anyway. So to make the fish cakes, I'm going to use these basil fillets. I'm going to use some of this chicken mince as well, okay? That will just give it some body. Okay, and then we're going to fry them up, we're going to slice them up, and then that will form the basically the garnishes that go with the noodles. Okay. So don't forget to say hello, let me know where you're watching from. Okay, so why don't we get started with these fish fillets. And again, I've mentioned this a number of times. I use bass because it's cheap. It's basically the cheapest fish you can find that actually still works for making fish cake with. And the fish cake, fish paste, right? Fish paste is kind of like a base recipe. You can use it for a number of different things, and one of them is basically for making fish cakes. Okay, but I will just open it up and let you see what it looks like if you haven't previously. Okay, this is defrosted. It came out frozen, obviously. Okay, so these are fillets, and I'm going to cut them into chunks before I throw them in the blender. Okay, there's a fair bit of liquid in there. We're not going to need that, and I'm just going to throw that out. So let's put that aside. And as usual, my Down syndrome toddler, Noah, well, it's not really, he's 5 years old, but he's got a mental age of about 12 to 18 months, so I still consider him a toddler. Okay, so let's get this cut up. Okay, and guys, if you have friends in Australia, all right, don't forget I have a giveaway coming up in the near future for an Australian barbecue set. It's called a Ziggy, Ziegler and Brown. It's won award for, basically the best barbecue in the world. So it's very, very impressive looking. I picked it up today. If we have time, I'm going to try and move the boxes. It's just to my left over here. And it's it's very, very impressive. I haven't actually unboxed it yet, so, we'll see how we go over time. I might even unbox it live on air. Okay, so fish fillets. Let's cut them up. So you just want to roughly cut them into 3 per piece, right? And I've mentioned this a number of times. In Malaysia, we would not be using basa fillets. Okay, basa is kind of like a cheap budget alternative to more expensive types of fishes, type of fish, which would generally be mackerel or similar. Okay, and not all fish works for making fish paste with. You need a certain level of stickiness, starchiness in the fish for the fish paste to hold together. Okay, so that's important. Let me just I want to quickly just rinse this out because I hate the feeling of like seafood juices and all that floating around. Okay, now to add some, the one thing about bass fillets is that it's got a higher like water content in it than some of the other fish we would traditionally use. And to counter that, right, because what happens is you end up with a very soft fish paste sometimes, right? To counter that, we're going to throw in some chicken mince, okay, just a small amount, about you know, just a 1:5 ratio of chicken mince to fish, and that will just kind of help it like firm up a little bit. And let's get onto it. So I'm going to use my thermocook over here. Okay, this is my thermocook. It's a multi-function kitchen appliance, and it's supplied by the people, well, the distributors of the Optimum range of products. If you want to find out more about it, there is you can go to jackiem.com.au/fruity, FROOTHIE, and it basically functions like a Thermomix, right? Okay. Which I kind of assume everybody knows. That may not be the case, but you know, it does a bunch of stuff. So it can act like a high-powered blender, it can cook for you, you can steam with it, you can saute with it, all kinds of stuff, okay? So we're gonna cook this in, we're gonna blend this in 2 batches, right? So I want half the fish. And I'm just going to throw in a little bit of the chicken here. Okay, just a little small handful. And because basil is a little bit fairly bland, okay, I'm just going to add a pinch of sugar in here, okay? And I'm going to use my chicken powder. Everyone knows my fixation with chicken powder, okay? Chicken powder is kind of like using stock cubes, but in powder form. But it's better than stock cube, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Some pepper, white pepper, always lots of white pepper. Can't go wrong with white pepper. And I'm gonna throw in some tapioca starch, okay? That just kind of like helps to bind everything together. Don't have tapioca starch, you can use corn starch, which is what most Westerners tend to lean towards. But we Asians probably prefer tapioca starch or potato starch a bit more. Okay, so let's blend this. Okay, so you want to blend this for just seconds, okay? The other thing I want to mention before I go on any further, 2 things. First of all, quick shout out to Lenovo Australia, New Zealand for the laptop I use for my live streaming. I'm using a Lenovo I'm using a Lenovo IdeaPad Y700, which is a gaming laptop. Also shout out to Rode microphones for the microphones I use for my live streaming. And second thing is, if you're watching this anywhere else at all, like I said, I'm multi-streaming on a number of platforms. Apparently Facebook is behaving a little bit strangely at the moment. We'll see how we go. But nonetheless, if you're watching this on YouTube or even on Facebook, if it's working there, I can't actually monitor the comments on all different platforms, right? I can only monitor them on Twitch. So hop over to Twitch, twitch.tv/JackieMFood is my Twitch channel. I'm getting my words jumbled up tonight for whatever reason. And again, all the drawings that I do, right, I use an automated giveaway tool that only picks up names from my Twitch audience, okay? So if you're watching on Twitch, it automatically detects it and your name automatically goes in the draw. So don't forget, if you don't already follow me on Twitch, go to twitch.tv/JackieMFood, okay? Here we go. Okay, so you want to really, like, this is a very powerful blender, all right? So you want to really just zip it for, how long do I zip it for? Okay, 4 seconds, okay? You blend it for too long, the blades are gonna like overheat, and they're not gonna break the blender, but they're gonna like mess up your mixture here, because your fish can end up like semi-cooking. Okay, so that's not a good thing. Just be very aware of that happening. If that happens, then your fish will be like, it just won't taste nice. It will taste like stringy, okay, when it's meant to taste smooth. Okay, so let's do the rest of this. Okay, so there it is. And again, another little clutch of chicken mince in there. Like I said, the chicken mince is fairly optional, right? It just kind of like tends to help it, like I said, you know, give it a little bit more firmness. Okay, but if you don't have it, leave it out. I often do, in fact. Okay, just so I happen to have some chicken mince that I needed to use up, so I figured I'll throw it in. Okay, another 4 seconds. Okay, there you go. And you know what? I haven't put in the seasoning and whatever else yet, so let's do that and zap it again for a little bit more. Again, chicken powder, pepper, hint of sugar. You can leave the sugar out. I put it in just to balance the flavor a little bit, okay? And some tapioca flour again. I'm just gonna blend this on a lower speed just to get it mixed in together. There you go. Okay. And let's scoop it out. I like to simplify things, guys. I know there are cooks out there who think that using kitchen appliances is a bit of a cop-out, that they like the whole you know, process of cooking. They like standing over a stove and stirring. And just before we went on air, I actually saw on Facebook someone posted a video of how they made what they call a minced prawn omelette, right? And it showed how they got the prawn minced up was they chopped it up by hand, okay? Which is fine and good if you don't have one of these things, but you know, chopping it by hand not only gets I think kind of like, you know, make a big mess of your work area, because there's a lot of prawn and they wanted to mince it to essentially like something close to this consistency. Yeah, so it's time consuming and whatever, but I think a lot of Asian recipes, they the techniques are all kind of like very old school, you know, by virtue of the fact that it's handed down over the generations sort of thing. So people are still a little bit sometimes stuck in their ways on how to produce the food a little bit more efficiently, okay? Like I say, it's fine and good. If you've got the time, you do it as a hobby or whatever. But if you're trying to feed a family and you're time poor, like most of us are, take advantage of these devices. But again, don't compromise on the flavors though, right? Okay, so some of these devices, they're great for certain dishes. Don't try and force them to do what they're not meant to do. Okay, that's my philosophy when it comes to cooking. So that's the fish paste, right? Let's let it settle for a little bit and we'll peel out some prawns. Need some gloves again. These prawns aren't the best looking, but they'll be all right for making wontons or dumplings with. Okay, so they're a little bit tired, but I always buy prawns on the shell, okay, raw. So try and do that if you can, because the flavor is like worlds apart from prawns that are like peeled and frozen, or even worse, prawns that are cooked. Okay, those have really not much flavor left in them at all. Okay, so let's peel this. you go. So I'm gonna peel everything off because I want only the prawn meat, okay? Sometimes I leave the head intact, depending on the dish I'm using it for. Sometimes I leave the tail intact, sometimes I leave the entire skin intact, okay? But in this particular instance, we're peeling everything off. Like I said, these prawns look really, really tired, so I don't know why they look so bad myself. Let me just, okay, they smell fine. Again, don't forget to say hello, let me know where you're watching from, and if you're watching for the first time here on Twitch, if you're from somewhere else, let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if you got brought over by YouTube or by Twitter. Actually, I didn't even share this on Twitter. I was so rushed for time to go live. Or from Facebook, right? But don't forget to follow me on Twitch if you want to be in the draw for any kind of prizes I draw, okay? Jeepers, these prawns look really dead. I might actually skip them. Okay. I don't know if I got supplied with a dodgy batch of prawns. They just feel really, really stiff, you know. They should be softer and they shouldn't look as yellow as they do. Not all of them are like that. They came from 2 separate batches. The other batch looks fine. But this particular lot is not that impressive. Okay. This is from like my other freezer because I've got a couple of freezers here. This is from like my dinky little freezer up the back here that actually belongs to my sister. It came with the place, so I think it's got like a couple of like yeah, it's misbehaved before, so I don't know something happened with it or whether this is just a not particularly brilliant batch of prawns. And if you are in Sydney, there are a couple of events coming up. There's an event called the Rivendell Flower Show that's coming up on the 23rd and 24th of September. The patron for this event is Don Burke from Burke's Backyard is what I remember him from. I don't know if the show still runs because I don't watch television anymore. But famous Australian gardener, celebrity gardener. Hey Sammy, how you doing? Oh, by the way, I got I heard back from the company about the pantry ingredient hampers. Good news is that they've agreed to supply me with the required number of giveaways. Bad news is they'll only ship to not even all of Australia. They'll only ship to New South Wales. Okay, so I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking like, should I or you know, because that limits me a lot, right? Because most of my, I think, I know, right? I think everyone will just have to move to Sydney. That's the end of it, guys. Sorry. But yeah, I just don't know if yeah. Because it's not that it's hard work promoting, but I've got so many other things to promote, right? So I've still got my Lenovo microphones, my Lenovo mini speakers that I still have 4 to give away, and I've still got the Rode microphones. I've got 4 of those to give away. I've got a bunch of Australian sweets and whatever that I still need to give away. Can my family move into our I know, right? Into your house. Hey, look, anytime, sure. Okay, so these are the prawn meat peeled, okay? Like I say, I'm a little bit... Look, this is for personal consumption, okay? If I was selling this, I would have thrown out some of these prawns. They just look like really yellow. And, but what the hell? Let's just move this away. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mince this prawn here. Again, I'm not gonna switch out the food processor because the flavors are like, you know, this is just, I've done fish in it, but it's like, it's not gonna mess up the flavors. So let's do this. They will look fine when cooked though. I know, right? I'm counting on it. Let's blitz this. Okay, did I do something else? Okay. Here we go. Okay, that's my blitz prawn meat, and to that, first of all, I'm going to scrape it out. And I finally picked up, because I'm creating content on Asian barbecue recipes, and I'm doing it thanks to Barbecues Galore Australia supplying me with an award-winning barbecue called the Ziggy, Z-I-G-G-Y, and that's been arranged for a week now, and I only finally picked it up today because, you know, you need a lot of space in your vehicle, and I usually have Noah with me, or I'm usually busy otherwise. But there were like 2 gigantic boxes. One of them weighed 32 kilos, which is like 70 pounds. And it's more than half my height. And I had to unload it when I got here, because they helped me load up at the store. I had to unload it when I got here and drag it up to my top floor apartment via the stairs. I'm so proud of myself. Okay, so that's the prawn mince, and I'm going to add to that the chicken mince, okay? And after that, I'm gonna chop up some, I want some crunch, and I think I'm gonna use some Chinese green stems, and I'll chop them up by hand. Okay, so in goes the chicken mince. And let's take out one of these gloves. I'm going to leave this on here because I'm going to use it in a bit. But I want to add some crunch to this. So I've got some veggies. Like I said, literally today is like kind of like clearing out my fridge and cooking up stuff before they die an unnatural death because of neglect, right? So I've got these kailan here, and half of them are yellow. So I'm going to have to go through them and just break off the yellow leaves. And then what's left of it, I'm going to use the stems, cut them into like small little chunks, and toss them through that what's going to be the wonton slash sui gao, which is basically water dumpling, poached dumpling mix, okay? So I've got so much food in my house that I don't always get through them. So if any of you guys are ever in Sydney, have plans to do so, let me know ahead of time, right? And we can get you here to eat some of this food. I actually just right before I went on there, I actually threw out a whole box of cooked chicken mince from a dish I made probably about 2 weeks ago, because it started to get moldy in my fridge. I made it and I forgot. I kind of like knew it was there. I mean, crossed my mind, but I just didn't feel like eating chicken mince noodles, you know. And I ended up having to throw it all out. What a waste. Okay. Here you go. Anyone is if Cyan, if you're still around, If you can let me know whether that Facebook video is still playing, that'll be good. Okay, so here they are, right? Like I said, I'm using the leaves for the noodles. So I'm gonna use some of the stems to toss through this, just to add a little bit of like crunchiness to the dumplings. All right. Okay, so cut my gloves off. I'm using large gloves. I hired a guy for my business who's like super tall, and up until he came on board, I basically bought medium-sized gloves for my entire staff because they're all about like they're all Asians, you know. Then I hired this guy who's 6'2", and I needed to buy bigger gloves, so basically I don't want to buy two different size gloves. So we're all using large gloves now, and sometimes it's a bit of a pain because they slip around because they're loose. Nothing against him, of course. He's a great worker, which is why he's hired. It's just my business isn't big enough for me to buy different size gloves anymore. It used to be, but I gave up my restaurant a few years ago to look after my son Noah. He's got Down syndrome, so everything is scaled right down. Okay, the chunks might be a little bit big, but ours should be alright. Okay, so I'm gonna throw in some spring onion as well. So just a couple of like stalks of spring onion. Again, I'm just gonna slice them up. Yeah, I really notice the oversized gloves when I try and do this. Okay, hey Cookie, how you doing? Did you get my emails? So in that goes. Now I want to add some fried onion. Where have I got them? Fried onion. I know I've got a big giant bag of it somewhere. Okay, here we go. Alright, fried shallots, fried onions. I'm using fried shallots, which are more expensive than fried onion by nearly like 50%, okay? That to me just, again, helps to add to the flavor and the texture as well. It's such a big bag. Cookie. Down with the flu, feeling quite miserable and sorry. Oh wow, that's no good. everybody's getting hit with the flu. It's just in the news today, like the nursing home, 7 residents all apparently died from the flu. So this season's flu epidemic is pretty bad. Okay, so that's that. Let's add chicken powder. And pepper. I'm running low on pepper. I've got a big bag of it downstairs, but I'm going to use this all up. Wait, I just found some more. I think this is pepper. What does it say? White pepper powder. Brilliant. In. Yeah, Cookie, if you missed the start of my broadcast, basically I am kind of like doing a fridge clear out slash trying to essentially have a video to cover one of my recent recipes. It's what happens when you talk while you're messing with pepper. I've had the past week also same with my kids. Yeah, that's the worst thing when your kids are sick. That's really bad. Okay. Yeah. So basically, Cookie, I'm just trying to recreate some content, some video content for some of my past cooking recipes where the videos were stuffed up, right? So I've got that, and if you want, you can add a little bit of egg white. Let me just see if I've got some, otherwise you can leave it out, yeah? So for this amount, you just really want half an egg white, so that much is fine. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of the egg. Okay. Let's put that aside. Okay, so let's put my gloves back on, and I want to mix this up. Yeah, I don't envy you, Sammy, because you're alone with your kids, right? Like when Noah, because I'm alone with Noah, and I know what it's like to be to have to deal with kids being sick, with no help on hand. I had no help at all. I mean, but yeah, still. I'm probably a little bit less inclined to ask for help than some women might be. It's just my nature to try and be very independent, but it does mean that I'm kind of like stuck if something goes wrong. I want to add a little bit of sesame oil to this, alright? Okay, so just stir that in. That's Asian sesame oil, by the way, guys. So not your cold pressed whatever health stuff that you get at your local organic macro supplies place. Okay, good old Asian sesame oil is from roasted sesame seeds, and they come in different grades, and generally you get what you pay for. Okay, the cheaper ones would be significantly cheaper than the, because the price range is quite wide. Okay, quite large. And the pure sesame oil generally will have a much nicer sesame flavor. The cheaper ones less so, obviously. So pretty much you get what you pay for. Okay, so this is my what's going to be my dumpling filling, my wonton filling. Okay, and again, this is going to be, some of this is going to be used for making fish cakes, which let's do that now. Let me just get a couple of things out of the way. I'll start heating up some oil, and then we're gonna fry up the fish cakes. What am I gonna use for this? I'm trying to think. Let me just get my wok. Okay. This is my least attractive wok. It's old and crotchety, but it's heavy based, so it's better for deep frying. And we Asians, we usually do our deep frying in woks, right? So we don't worry. I know a lot of Westerners. I know from having run a food business for over 20 years that Westerners, when you tell them something needs it, like, because a lot of the time the food they eat at my restaurant or at my market stalls or whatever, they like it so much they'll ask, oh, can they buy my curry puffs frozen, can they buy my spring rolls frozen? And I'll tell them, yeah, but you have to deep fry them, and that usually is a deal breaker for them. They'll be, oh, I've got no deep fryer at home, sort of stuff. But we Asians, we don't have deep fryers at home, alright? This is how we do our deep frying. So let's heat that up, and in the meantime, again, that's the fish paste. We're going to try, usually you would want like a bowl of cold water to do this, but I'm going to wing it to some extent. And basically just mold like rectangular shapes with the fish paste. The water will actually help to kind of like, you know, smooth it out and whatever, but like I said, I'm going to just wing it. So you want to make this into rectangular shapes. Okay, and then once this heats up, you can drop it into the oil and fry it till it's nice and golden brown. Let's do a couple of these. I'm gonna save some of it for my my favorite dish, which is stuffed eggplant, which I won't put you guys through again tonight because I know you guys are sick of seeing me do that. Okay, so there you go. That's one of them. I'll put this. I'm trying to reduce. I'm trying to cut down on like things to wash up at the end of the night. Okay, so I'm gonna just lay this back in here and just kind of like fix it up a little bit before I put it in the oil. Okay. And as usual, it feels like my stove's not powerful enough. I should probably plug in my Sunbeam tabletop pot. I'm trying to think, should I? Because that heats up super fast. Oh look, it doesn't matter. It's already halfway there. Okay, so we got that. And then what I want to do also is I want to deep fry some of these noodles, right? So when it comes back up to heat, we will do that. And what we can do in the meantime with the greens is cut them in half so they're not too long, because we're going to use this for both the noodle dishes. So there's two different ways to prepare your thin egg noodles. We get a cutting board. cut them in half basically. So don't forget, if you're watching this anywhere else at all, I can't actually monitor my chat, alright? On any other platform. I can't monitor the comments on Facebook if you're watching on Facebook. So hello to anyone watching anywhere else. But if you want to ask me any questions, hop over to Twitch, twitch.tv/JackieMFood. Again, because I know like it's very, very frustrating for someone like me to promote a you know, when I tell people to follow me on this and that, I don't do it glibly, alright? I do it because, like I say, when I do drawings for prizes and whatever, the tool that I use only picks winners from like my Twitch audience, okay? So you have to have Twitch open for it to detect that you're watching, and it might pick your name out, okay? And it's so easy to win stuff on my channel that multiple people have actually won multiple things on my channel. Okay, so that's one thing. But second of all, like I said, it's quite frustrating to get people watch me on Twitch because the oldies are set in their ways. They kind of, oh, it doesn't matter, you know. And some of them think that you have to pay to watch me on Twitch because there's that subscribe button that comes up when you go to Twitch, and they think you have to subscribe. You don't. All right, guys, you can watch it completely for free. Just like the same way you can watch me on YouTube and whatever. Just click on follow. If you're watching from a desktop, the follow button. If you're watching from the Twitch app, right, there's a heart, okay? You click on the heart, then you follow me, okay? So you don't have to subscribe. But you can if you want. It's only $5 a month. But subscribing allows you to do a number of different things as well. Basically, it shows your support for what I do, and also you get to use all my super cool emotes, and also you get exclusive access to me on my Discord server. Okay, everyone can go on my Discord server. I'm going to replace this. But subscribers more so, okay? And if you want to join my Discord server, the invitation is waiting for you. Go over to bit.ly/discordjackie, all lowercase, guys. And Discord is basically a chat app, okay? It's kind of like WhatsApp for gamers is how they describe it. Even though I'm not a gamer, you can find me on Discord. Okay, while we're waiting for this, the other thing I can do is actually make some dumplings using the dumpling filling over here, right? And we can even deep fry some of it too, you know. Assuming my dumpling skin is still okay, it looks like it is. Okay, so this is the dumpling skin. I buy it from my local Asian grocery store, and they're labeled wonton skins. Okay, you can fold them all kinds of different ways, but I just do it simple. I just kind of like fold them in half in a triangular shape. Alright, so I'm just splitting it up a bit here. Should be enough. Okay, move this around. It's getting there. Let's move this a bit further away from me. Okay, so with the dumpling, you want about a teaspoon of filling. It's right in the middle here. Okay, like I say, you can fold it a number of different ways. I just do it simple. I just fold it in half in a triangle, but make sure you pinch the edges, okay? Otherwise they'll split open, or they generally won't cook very well, okay? There you go. Easy. And once you've done them, you can either poach them, which is how I like it, or you can fry them up as well, right? Deep fry them. So in Malaysia, if you were having this as part of what we call wonton mee or wonton noodles, these are basically wontons, right? You can fold them, like I said, you can fold them more wonton shape, which is kind of like all crinkled up like a little pouch. I don't. That becomes a wonton, okay? The way I'm folding it, we call it sui gao, S-U-I-G-O-W, is how I spell it, sui gao. Literally it means water dumplings, okay? But yeah, you would serve them with like with these noodles that are also blanched and tossed in an oyster-based sauce. Okay, I think this is hot enough. So let's throw this in again, just forming it into a rectangular shape. Hey Cyan, how's did you check in on Facebook to see how the stream is doing over there? Okay, again, just flatten a bit. And throw it in. My gloves. I'm just gonna move this a little bit. Okay. I don't think I've eaten that much today, but I feel so incredibly bloated. Just don't feel like, none of this actually looks appealing to me right now. Yes, it's a bit behind, but it's actually working okay otherwise, like, but the voice is in sync and all that. It's not like messed up or anything. I mean, as long as it's working, that's all I care about, really. But you know, if it works, this would be the first time it actually worked on Facebook, because I'm using a third-party service that I pay to be able to stream to Facebook on, okay? And the way it works, the service, if you're interested, for those of you who are not on Twitch, because I kind of assume that we people on Twitch are all on the same wavelength. Alright, I'm a little bit behind the curve because I'm new on Twitch. But for those who are not on Twitch, who live stream and want to know how I can actually simultaneously stream across all these different platforms. I was streaming on Periscope the other day, actually. And in fact, I'm curious to know if it's actually streaming on Periscope. Because I don't think I turned that option off. I mean, to be fair, audio is in sync. Okay, great. Okay, to be fair, on the Periscope, see, the problem is this service that I use to aggregate my stream across all these different platforms has specific settings that you can, I mean, if you follow the default settings, it won't work on Facebook, all right? You have to tweak it so that it matches the audio, the video, you know, the bit rates and all that sort of stuff, okay? And then, but if you have Periscope, the settings are different again. So I successfully streamed to Periscope the other day, but in order to be able to stream to Facebook, I decided, because I found that the settings on Periscope were too low for my other platforms. Okay, it looks like I am live on Periscope. Well, there you go, what do you know? Thank you guys if you're watching on Periscope. How funny. Okay, well, there you go. Good to know, right? So the service I'm using is called restream.io. Okay? So you can actually stream to multiple platforms for free, but the multiple platforms don't include Facebook. If you wanted to also be able to stream to Facebook, you have to pay for it, okay? So at least I know I can now stream simultaneously across 4 different platforms. I'm really proud of myself for that. So all I want to do is rest, but kids not possible. Poor thing. Yeah, I know. People don't appreciate enough like what stay-at-home parents do, you know. I mean, I've worked in the workforce before. My first kid, I was the one who went out to work while my then husband, raised my kid, right? But yeah, sometimes it's easier to be at work and not have to deal with the kids. I mean, I stay at home with Noah now, so I've experienced both sides of the fence. But Noah was sick in hospital for 7 months when he was first born, so I mean, that was stressful in itself, but you know what? If nothing else, when he did finally come out of hospital after 7 months, I had to get into the whole group of like, you know, changing him, feeding him and all that. I mean, when I visited him in the hospital, which was on average about 5 hours per day, so it's not like, you know, it's not like I was slacking off, you know. But when I visited him in the hospital, the nurses generally, for bonding and other reasons, they would actually let you change his diaper and stuff like that, right? But did you say dead? No. Yeah. So, but when he, okay, so this is done because it's floating up, all right, and it's nice golden brown. I'm gonna dish this out. Whoa. Okay, that was a close shave. You hear that little pop? That was like some moisture in the fish cake. Okay, I'm really impressed, by the way. Oops. I was just about to say, I'm really impressed with how my silicone paddle is holding on. I realize it's created a little bit of a bubble over there, so there is a limit as to how hot it can get before it starts warping. Okay, so these are the fish cakes. I'm gonna let this cool down a little bit, all right? And now let's fry up these noodles. I'm gonna turn them down a little bit, okay? So these again are what I would usually ask for wonton noodles at the store, okay? And if you look at them closely, you'll see that they're drenched in flour, right? So this is different to chow mein noodles that you find at the store. Chow mein noodles will be more al dente, okay? So chow mein noodles you wouldn't be able to deep fry, you know. So they'll be a little bit more like, yeah, sturdy, okay? I mean, it's not gonna kill you, like, you know, if you use the wrong noodles or whatever it is, but just so you know, these, okay, because they're raw or semi-raw, they are porous, so when you deep fry them, they expand, okay, and they get crunchy. Okay, so you see that? Okay, isn't that lovely? Take this out. That's going to be enough because I'm not going to eat any more than that. I'm going to turn this off. Okay, so when you go to a restaurant and they serve you crispy noodles, this is how they do it, right? Just dish this out. And look, let's fry up a few of the dumplings just so you can see how they look, right? In they go. trying to see what I need to clear off of here before we get on to the next step. Okay, so let me just get rid of these prawn shells. So just make sure that these are fried up evenly. Okay, so just flip them around if needs be. And let me put this away in the meantime. Okay, these are good to come out. They're a little bit browned actually. So they could have come out like a few seconds before, but it's all good. So these are fried dumplings, right? Turn this off. Let's pour the oil. I'm not gonna need that much oil after this. I'll pour it back in the saucepan here. And I store it till the next time I need to do any deep frying, okay? Okay, now I need some garlic. I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna use dried garlic, alright? I don't want to have to wash another blender because I need a clean blender to mince garlic. So I'm gonna use dried garlic for the sauce for this one. And let me just grab some other type. I'll show you the other type of prawns I meant. So these are prawns left over from my business yesterday, okay? You can see them. These are actually Z Legacy, thanks for following. These are actually pre-cooked prawns. You buy them frozen, pre-cooked, okay? In Australia, the government's just changed the regulations fairly recently so that you can't actually buy raw frozen prawns anymore, okay? So these are already cooked and they're frozen, and we use it for our stir-fry noodle dish. But look, in all honesty, I buy it for the sake of expediency, but they barely have any flavor in them. But it actually kind of works for this dish, okay? So I'm going to use some of these prawns for the sauce for this dish, right? So let's get started on that. Let me put on some gloves. Okay, the other thing I'm going to use is I'm going to use some chicken stock in this, okay? And you don't have to. When I made this dish for my restaurant in the past, I didn't use chicken stock, or I just used water. I'm using chicken stock because I've always got like a whole bucket load of chicken stock I'm trying to get rid of. And this is actually concentrated chicken stock from like, again, leftover from my business. Because I still sell food 1 day a week, all right? So I've got like large amounts of chicken stock sitting in my freezer in big blocks, and when they're defrosted, they go in these big buckets, and I always try to find ways to use them up. But like I said, you don't have stock, just use water for this, okay? So what we're gonna do is make the sauce for this. There's a tiny amount of oil left in here. I'm just gonna add a little bit more. I'm gonna grab my dried garlic. Okay, so dried garlic, again, you've seen me use this a number of times. Okay, and I prefer using dried garlic to those minced garlic you buy in a jar at your local supermarket, okay? Because this has more flavor in them. The ones in jars tend to be marinated in some like acidic thing that just kills any garlic flavor in them, okay? Obviously fresh is best. I do have fresh garlic, I just don't want to have to mince it up at the moment. So in goes the garlic, right? Mix it up, and you want some oyster sauce. Okay. oyster sauce, and I'm gonna add a bit of water to this. And I'm gonna top it up with some chicken stock. Okay, like I said, this is concentrated chicken stock, so that's why I had to add some water. There that goes. Garlic in jars also splatter like mad because of the vinegar content in them. There you go, see? Yeah, that's why I don't like using them. Okay, so in goes some concentrated chicken stock. Okay, and as far as seasoning, you know me, a bit of chicken powder, and you can add a hint of sugar in this, but I'm leaving it out because I find that this brand of oyster sauce is quite sweet. Okay, so this is the Panda brand. I'm not, you know, it's a pretty good brand, but different brands of oyster sauce have their own, like, you know, nuance. And I hadn't had the Panda brand for a while now, and just using it last week, a couple of dishes, I found it like to be sweeter than the previous brand I was using, so I'm going to leave the sugar out, okay? But even if you were using sugar, just put a hint in there, okay? Don't kind of like make it sugary sweet. Though you can if you want. I tend to find the Thais, when they make this particular dish, they like their sauce sweeter, okay, more distinctly sweet. So it's a bit of a personal preference thing. But that's you're going to find that to be one point of difference between like a Malaysian approach to cooking the same dish versus a Thai approach, okay? The Thais tend to have more sugar in their savory dishes. Twitch still auto-correcting my spelling. But you think mad would not like get picked up as you know, as a typo though. Okay, I'm just adding a couple of squirts of fish sauce if I could actually get this. Okay, it looks like the thing is messed up. I'm gonna be very, very careful with the fish sauce. Okay, just a hint of fish sauce in there. You can use soy sauce if you want. I generally prefer fish sauce to soy sauce in a lot of these dishes. So I find that fish sauce can actually, well, soy sauce can actually be a little bit overpowering. Okay, so this is all going to be pretty quick, and so I'm going to let this simmer for a little bit, just so I have time to cut up these fish cakes into slices. All right, so let me grab my. Where is my cutting board? Here you go. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit dangerous and have this on here. And that's my fish cake. And you know what I need? I need lots of pepper, white pepper in here, okay? Let's mix this through. And if you're using chicken, you're using whatever else, you can use pork. I don't eat pork, right? But yeah, you can put them in and simmer them at this point. You can even saute them with the garlic and the oyster sauce, all right? There's no hard and fast rule as to what goes in when, generally. Okay. So I've got the fish cake slices. I'll just, like, you know, this is what they look like. They're not particularly elegant. Okay, so if I make them a little bit more even, they'll be more evenly shaped. Okay, so in go the fish cake slices. In go some prawns. Okay, so remember these prawns are already cooked, so you don't need to boil the hell out of them. And I'm going to throw in some Chinese greens over here. So this is the kailan, right? The stems go in first, what's left of the stems, since I use some of it for my dumplings. The stems are more sturdy than the leaves. So in go the stem. Let's turn this back up. Mix this together. And put more greens in here. Okay, now you want to separately make some slurry. which I thought was actually an Asian term, but it turns out you Westerners use it a lot. Okay, slurry is, oh, potato starch is better. Okay, you can use corn flour if that's all you got at home. You can use tapioca flour, which is what I usually use, but I got recently introduced to potato starch, okay, potato flour, which I'm told, right? First of all, this potato starch costs about 3 times what the tapioca starch costs, right? Which will explain why I never actually used it in the past, but I'm told it holds its starchiness better, okay? And as I'm talking too much, so that the veggies are actually about like overcooked now. So add some water to it just to create a slurry. Mix it around, right? And pour it in here. Stir it around. It will thicken up. Okay. Looks to me like it needs more potato starch. Okay, a little bit more, because I only use half of it. Bit of water. Mix it together. Pour it over that. There you go. Beautiful. Okay. Turn it off. And we've got the crispy noodles here that we deep fried. We're going to place them on the plate. And we're going to ladle the sauce over it, okay? And if you had a mold for the noodles, you could actually fry them in the mold so that they form a beautiful shape when they come out, which is how the restaurants usually do it, right? Okay. So this is your standard like Asian crispy noodle dish with sauce, okay? Easy. And now let me get this out of the way, and I will bring some, I'm gonna cook the noodles a different way. I've got some water in the kettle that I'm going to actually bring out to heat this up. So we're not waiting 5 hours for it to boil. Things out of the way. I'm glad I'm not the only one that runs out of bench space. Do you cook as well? I know it's crazy, right? I've got actually, this is an entire dining table that I extended to its widest setting. And Oh. I'm glad I don't have like a wide shot. You can see what a big mess this area is. So let me just get some things cleared out. Okay, so while this is heating up, I'm just gonna like, well, I'll keep clearing some things that I'll talk when I'm cooking. I'm just using this as an excuse to move some things out of the way. I love cooking. I enjoy making dumpling stir fries. I'm interested in the way you cook these thin egg noodles. Oh, cool. Thanks. Sometimes you don't know how much people know, you know? Like, are you kind of like showing them the bleeding obvious, or is this quite like a novelty for them? So, but for this noodle, I've made this sauce just fairly recently live on air, but this is you can make this ahead and store it in the fridge, okay? So this is what I've got over here. And basically the sauce is made from garlic oil, which you make by, frying garlic in a lot of oil, right? And then straining the garlic out. And then you use the oil and you simmer it with an equal amounts of oyster sauce and abalone sauce. I use abalone sauce because I find that oyster sauce can sometimes be a little bit sharp and overpowering. Abalone sauce is very similar to oyster sauce, but less so. It's also a lighter color. If you can't find it, only use oyster sauce. If you Google how to make wonton noodle sauce anywhere on the internet, I'm one of like maybe 2 people who suggest like using some abalone sauce. Okay, most of them just call for oyster sauce, so that's cool as well. So it's predominantly like oyster sauce and abalone sauce, and also then some soy sauce and some thick soy. Okay, a caramel sauce, which is like kind of like an intense black soy. Okay, so let's boil up the dumplings first. Oh no, you know what? Let's do the noodles, so I don't have to worry about assembling them properly. Okay, so in go the noodles, right? Again, these are what we call wonton noodles in Malaysia. And in the shops, they're labeled fresh rice noodles. And the way you tell the difference between fresh rice noodles and chow mein noodles is that fresh rice noodles look like they've got flour drenched through them. Okay, so they look a little bit floury. Okay. You could use this. You could use chow mein noodles for this dish, by blanching it, but the texture will be quite different. It'll be more rubbery and more al dente. Okay, this is a lot softer. Okay, so let's bring this to a boil, and I'm trying to dig out the green chilies I made the other day, because this dish goes perfectly with green chilies. So let this come back up to a boil. It'll take another minute or so. Okay. Okay, so these are what's left of the green chilies. All right, there's a very Asian thing, and it's basically like green chilies sitting in a vinegar with a bit of sugar, a bit of salt mixture. Okay, and it's very traditionally served with this. So it tastes sour. There's very little heat in them, and usually we would serve it without the vinegar, but with some soy sauce. Okay. So these noodles, you do need to cook them for a little bit, like, they're not cooked through, so they do need to cook a little bit longer than your average, say like fresh rice noodles or something like that, which are already like cooked through and you don't have to do much with them. And traditionally in Malaysia, when they serve this very breakfasty thing, the street food vendor will have like a separate, they'll basically like boil this, dish this out, and drench it in some cold water just to kind of like basically stop it cooking and give it a bit of a just keep it a little bit crunchy, I guess. Okay, but this is what they look like, and they do start to stick together if you don't use them right away. Okay, you can serve this in a bowl of soup, like broth, or you can serve it the way we're going to do now, which is with a sauce. Okay, and in Malaysia, usually by default this will be served with dry style, okay, for this particular dish. But if you do want it if you do want it in the soup, you just mention it to the stallholder. So usually the way they serve this is that they'll have these noodles with some char siu, which is a barbecue pork, right? And I've made it with chicken in the past. Sometimes I'm just not too fussed about going through the trouble. But traditionally you'll have a plate of this with the sauce, with the char siu, the sliced barbecue pork next to it with the Chinese greens, and then you'll have a separate little bowl of chicken broth with the dumplings in it, all right? And so that's called a kondo mean or wonton meat. Kondo means dry style. And just want to take out some of these noodles because there's a little bit too much of it here for me. And if you want it if you don't want it dry style, you can ask it for what we call ji sui, all right, which means in water. Technically it means in the soup. Okay, so instead of this on a plate, it will be in a bowl with the dumplings in the bowl with the broth over it. Okay. Hashtag me crew, how you doing? It is delicious. It's a very popular Malaysian breakfast dish. It's very street foodie. Okay, I'm gonna get a container. If this starts sticking, right, if you're not using it right away, toss it in oil, alright, so it stops sticking. I'm gonna take some out. This is gonna be too much. Okay. So you got the noodles here, right? And you got the sauce. I've got a small amount of sauce here. Pretty sure this is all. Okay, yep, this is the sauce. I've got so much stuff in my fridge. Okay. It's happened before in my business when I had my restaurant, where all the sauces were all dark colored, and I've had it happen where my staff had used the wrong sauce for the wrong dish, right? But it's all part of the learning process. So you toss it through the sauce. Okay, I think that's actually enough sauce there. And I'm gonna throw in the Chinese greens now. Okay. Usually I would actually blanch them separately, but I think just visually, the dumplings are virtually done, so I'm gonna toss them in together. And what I want to do is actually basically throw some white pepper on this again. Breakfast. What? Alright, so lots of white pepper goes really well with this dish, alright? Okay, so this should be done. Let's dish this out. And I want to to show you guys the boxes that arrived earlier today. Well, more to the point, I picked up from the store today. They were gifted to me from Barbecues Galore. So if you're Australian, you're in a chance to win one of these barbecues, a slightly smaller version of it. I've got 2 of them to give away, not tonight, because I want to hit a certain follower number, okay guys? So if you're Australian, so encourage all your Australian friends to follow me. The reason why it has to be Australian is because Barbecue Galore is only open in Australia, so they couldn't possibly offer it to people overseas. Okay, so there you go, that's the dumplings, right? I'm going to put more sauce over the dumplings. It felt like this was going to be a long night because I had so many things I wanted to cover, but none of them took that long at all. Really. Okay. So some sauce over the dumplings, and I'm going to sprinkle some fried shallots over this, okay? So you've seen me make fried shallots a number of times here. Okay, so I keep them in this clay pot here. So fried shallots over that. That's awesome. It's chicken because I don't eat pork. But yeah, it's very traditionally they would use pork in this, okay? So this is chicken and prawn dumplings with the noodles here, with the with the greens over here. And then you can, like I said, there's some fried up ones as well, so you could actually serve some fried up. Okay, so there are some stalls out there who actually have both varieties. I mean, traditionally by default they'll be poached, but there are some, like, you know, some stalls that have fried dumplings, which you can ask for it all as well. Fish and chicken. Yeah, prawn and chicken. The fish is the fish cake in the stir fry, okay? You can see this like crispy noodle is settled, okay? The sauce has been soaked into the noodles, and that's part of the appeal with doing it that way as well. And like I said, the green chilies would usually go in here. Prawn and chook, yeah. That's alright, I know you're sick, Cookie. Okay, so this will have like a nice, like sour note to it, okay, because it's marinated, right? And people all the time, right, because I've got a bunch of YouTube videos, not all my YouTube videos get that many views. My live YouTube videos are like just dead in the water, but I just stream it there anyway, because whatever. But I do have like short edited, like 3-minute YouTube videos that generate some level of traction. But when every time I do something with chili, like how to like process dried chilies, how to make chili sauce and whatever, it's always the Americans and the Europeans that ask me what type of chili it is, okay? So if you're Asian, right, if you're my kind of Asian, you grow up knowing 2 types of chilies, the big chilies and the small chilies is what we call them, all right? Small chilies are technically like bird's eye chilies, but that's all we care for, okay? So among the big chilies, there'll be like green big chilies or red big chilies. So we don't have like all the fancy like varieties of chilies you get in Mexico or that you get in Sichuan, all right? It's always just big chilies, and when you ask me what type of chili you buy, I'll just say big chilies, okay? And even the dried chilies are labeled big chilies, dried big chilies, or dried small chilies, okay? We're not that complicated. So we're gonna put a dash of light soy sauce in this. I can only grow small chilies. Oh, really? The Thais will love you for it. Okay, so there you go. I find small chilies, like, I mean, I use it for certain dishes, but I'm not as, you know, as big of a chili fiend as some people would expect of an Asian. Okay, so there you go, guys. The crispy noodles, same type of noodles, cooked different ways. One like deep fried, all right, and then with a sauce over it like this here, and one boiled with the dumplings. I know it doesn't look great, all right, but it will taste fabulous, trust me on this. And I wanted to show you guys, like I said before we wrap up, not by choice. Okay, so this is what I had to pick up today. Okay, let me just move this over. Okay, I don't know if you guys, I do love those dumplings. They're good, they're good. Like I say, if you're in Sydney, you know. But look at the size of this box. This was 32 kilos or 70 pounds. So if you can make, I got that barbecue. Are you freaking serious? Are you serious? So you're Australian. There you go, that's your chance to win one for your family, right? Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's called the Ziggy, and it's courtesy of Barbecues Galore, right? So I look at the size of it, right? This is the triple grill. This is the deluxe version. Okay, so they've given me the triple grill, so that I can like do some YouTube videos for them, and in exchange they're also offering me 2 of the double grill. Okay, I asked for double grill because I thought originally I asked for 1 triple grill to give away of the Ziggy. Then I thought, no, actually, look, make it easier for people to win. So I asked for 2 double grills instead. Each will be worth with the, because I'm asking for the kit, all right. I'm not just asking for this, right. I'm asking for the kit that comes with like all the you know, some of these like extra plates and whatever. I'm an Aussie. Okay. Yeah, they are. I hear, according to the guy, this is like, you know, the best barbecue that money can buy apparently. So it's won awards and whatever. So like I said, so I asked for 2 of the double grill Ziggies as giveaways to my followers. So all you have to do, guys, is follow me on Twitch. Okay, I know I've got 1.8 million followers on Google Plus, but none of them are following me on Twitch. If you want to win this, you have to come over to Twitch, twitch.tv/JackieMFood, and follow me there. The only criteria is that the winners have to nominate an Australian address for this, okay, because they don't ship overseas. A famous barbecue, right? So I'm going to be creating Asian barbecue recipes with this thing, so you can expect to see some content, and you know, I might live stream from my balcony to though that's not, you know, that's not officially part of the deal, but I figure if I've got these and I want to do some cooking anyway, I can still live stream it. I mean, they were more interested in actual edited YouTube videos, which is what I offered them. But so, well, there you go. Like I said, follow me on Twitch, and if you're not on Twitch, it's free to follow me on Twitch, all right? Don't think you have to pay or whatever, because I'm trying to figure out what goes in the mind of people who have resisted following me so far. Okay, so if you're following me, you go onto, you know, if you go onto a mobile platform and follow me there, there's no button that actually says follow, okay? On the mobile device, if you're watching this on Twitch, there's a heart, okay? And all you have to do is click on the heart on Jackie's channel and you will have followed me, okay? Like I said, yeah. There you go, guys. I will see you tomorrow night is community chat, okay? If you've got any good stories, hop over to my Discord server, bit.ly/discordjackie, all lowercase, and post your stories on the stories channel there. Otherwise, you can send me a whisper and I will read out your story on tomorrow night's stream, which is at 10 p.m. Sydney time, GMT +10 Saturday. I do the community chat then, and usually we have a bit of fun, and if we have enough people around, I might do another giveaway tomorrow night, okay? So I look forward to seeing you there, and thanks so much guys for joining me. I'll catch you later. Ciao.